now look into the types of questions that come under the sequencing of the sentences, right? So there are two types in which you can be questioned under this particular topic: rearranging or sequencing of words or sentences. So when it comes to words, you are given one sentence that is broken into smaller parts and jumbled, mostly into 6 parts, right? And the other is when you have to jumble a sentences where you had given mostly 4, okay, rarely 5 sentences, 4 to 5 sentences where their sentences are rearranged, not the words, but the sentences. The sentences are rearranged and you are supposed to bring them back in the correct order of a passage so that they convey the exact meaning, right? So let us look into an example of both the types of questions which you might be questioned in your examination. First example I would like to give on reconstructing a sentence. Reconstructing a sentence. My first example is this, okay? The question goes like this. The first part of the question is this: it becomes easy. This is the first part of the sentence that is given in the question, and following that you have 4 parts: P, Q, R, S. So literally they are the first sentence, second, third, fourth, fifth, and again they give you the 6th sentence. The 6th sentence is to most of the word clusters, right? So since they have given it to you like this, 1 and 6, they are standard, they are in their place already, whereas P, Q, R and S are jumbled, right? So I am giving you the question first. If we know in a sentence the meanings to reorder words. Alright, so this is how your question is going to be, and you are expected to reconstruct the sentence, and you are also given 4 options, okay? I am giving you the options here: option A, option B, option C and option D, and 4 orders, chronological orders are given, and it's up to you to find out the correct sequence, right? So it goes like this: S, Q, P, R, Q, R, S, P, R, S, P, Q, and R, Q, P, S. Now that you have your tips in your hand as to how to go about with the reconstructing of a sentence, try guessing the correct chronological order. It becomes easy. Check with the first sentences. It can either be S, Q or R, definitely not P, right? So it becomes easy in a sentence, or it becomes easy the meanings, which gives sense, or it becomes easy to reorder words. Also keep in mind the articles and all the other rules which we had discussed earlier. Right. Let me give you all the correct order. The correct order is SQPR. Let us rearrange our sentences this way and see if it is giving us proper meaning and insight into the sentence or the message that it wants to convey. It becomes easy to reorder words in a sentence if we know the meanings to most of the word clusters, right? So that I have sequenced them, I have read the sentence in the same order and have found that they give proper meaning, and thus I conclude that this is the right answer. And this is what you are also expected to do in your examinations. Keep the tips in your mind and always try going for the chronological orders, and you can also try the options which are given. You can try all the 4 options and see which gives you the exact meaning and insight into the sentence or the passage. Let's deal with another example. Now let us see some more examples under sequencing sentences, right? Example 1. So now this is sequencing the sentences and arranging them in the chronological order so as to give a meaningful passage. So my example is consisting of 4 sentences and I am beginning it this way. Children love commercials. Often one hears them singing jingles. As if they were the latest pop hits. The third sentence. In India, marketers and advertisers have recognized this growing segment and are planning to cash in. That's my third sentence. Fourth sentence. Not only do they enjoy watching them enormously, but also remember parts of them. So this is the question, followed by which I am giving you 4 options. It's your turn to read the 4 passages, recollect the tips and rules that are to be followed, and arrange the sentences in the proper order. What are you supposed to do first? You are expected to analyze, read all the 4 sentences and get the meaning or the idea, the theme, the topic of whatever is being discussed here. Am I right? Well, so by reading these 4 sentences, I am sure you can conclude that this passage is all about how the commercials are playing a major role in our lives and how children get carried away by the commercials, right? So when you touch these 4 sentences, I think the very first line which speaks about the topic or about the title would be this. Am I right? Because this says what these 4 lines are all about. They are about the love of commercials, how children love commercials, right? So this line gives an insight into the passage. So this I would choose as my first line, right? Now take the other 3 lines, read them and see which one can be the second line. Often one hears them singing jingles as if they were latest pop hits. In India, marketers and advertisers have recognized this growing segment and are planning to cash in. Not only do they enjoy watching them enormously, but also remember parts of them. Now, forget about option C, because option A, B and C speak about the love or the craze that the children have on the jingles and commercials. But option B speaks about how, sorry, not option B, option C. Option C speaks about how marketers and advertisers are pouring their money on commercials to attract the attention. So this has got nothing to do with the love the children have towards the jingles. So I think this we can take as the 4th sentence. So the first sentence, children love commercials, right? And we have also found the 4th sentence. Now we are yet to narrow down between the 2nd and the 3rd sentence, that's option B and option D. Option B says, often one hears them singing jingles as if they were latest pop hits. Now, option D says, not only do they enjoy watching them enormously, but also remember parts of them. So here, if you arrange them in the chronological order, I think option D comes before option B, because here it is said that the children not only enjoy watching the shows, but they also remember them. And option B says that one can often hear the children sing the jingles as if they were latest pop hits. So option D would be a 2nd sentence and option B would be your 3rd sentence. Now along with me, you are going to read all the 4 sentences in the current sequence to check whether they give you proper sense. Children love commercials. Not only do they enjoy watching them enormously, but also remember parts of them. Often one hears them singing jingles as if they were the latest pop hits. In India, marketers and advertisers have recognized this growing segment and are planning to cash in. So, the passage has begun with a theme sentence and it has moved over and conveyed as to how children not just watch and enjoy but also remember the parts of the jingles. And then the third sentence says how they keep singing them very often, just like some latest pop hits. And the fourth sentence says how marketers and advertisers are pouring money into the field to capture the attention of the target group, right? So your order is A, D, B, C. So this is your option. Keep in mind to check for the theme sentence, repeated words and conclusion sentences before you go for the exact sequence. Let's get on to the next example. The next example is a question from one of the bank examinations. My first sentence is, on touring the whole world, and finding no couple who was perfectly happy the young couple understood that it is hard to find perfect happiness. That's my first sentence. Let's go on to the next sentence. The second sentence is, there was a young couple who led a very happy life together. That's my second sentence. one day they heard that a wise old man had come to town he solve all kinds of problem and guide people. That's my third sentence. The fourth sentence goes like this. The wise old man told them, travel around the world and seek a man and a woman who are perfectly happy as a couple. My fifth sentence goes like this. So, the couple decided to visit the wise old man and tell him their worry. And the last sentence, my sixth sentence, goes like this. The only thing that they worried about was whether their happiness would last forever. Alright, so this is the question with 6 sentences, and you are expected to place them in the proper sequence. Quickly go through all the 6 sentences and see if you are able to identify the theme, the topic of the passage. On touring the whole world and finding no couple who was perfectly happy, the young couple understood that it is hard to find perfect happiness. There was a young couple who led a very happy life together. One day, they heard that a wise old man had come to town. He could solve all kinds of problems and guide people. The wise old man told them, travel around the world and seek a man and a woman who are perfectly happy as a couple. So, the couple decided to visit the wise old man and tell him their worry. The only thing that they were worried about was whether their happiness would last forever. I'm pretty sure this passage is definitely not a big task because all the sentences are belonging to a short story, right? And it's definitely not hard to sequence a story. Find out the theme sentence. This theme sentence, the main idea of this passage is how a young couple were very happy but had a slight worriness in them, right? So we can have the first line as option B. There was a young couple. A story always begins like this, right? There was a young couple who led a very happy life together. You've got the first sentence, right? And very prominent, I think after reading all the 6 sentences, your last sentence is evident, right? Your sentence A seems to be your 6th sentence. And how are you able to identify that? Because it is giving you a conclusion. Read the sentence and see. On touring the whole world and finding no couple who was perfectly happy, the young couple understood that it is hard to find perfect happiness. So that is a clear wrapping up sentence. So that would be your 6th sentence. So it's great that we have identified the first and the last sentence of the passage. We have remaining 4 sentences. Coming back to the first sentence so that the sequencing of the second sentence is going to be easy for us. There was a young couple who led a very happy life together. Now, if you remember the tips, your tip says your second line of a paragraph will reflect something about the first line. Now, read the other 3 lines and tell me which line reflects line 1. If you are able to read the sentence F, the only thing that they were worried about was whether their happiness would last forever. So the first sentence speaks about how the couple were very happy. And remember the repetition of the word. You have the word happy here and you have the word happiness here. This was also discussed in the rules and tips part, right? So there was a young couple who led a very happy life together. The only thing that they were worried about was whether their happiness would last forever, right? So that's your second sentence. Another 3 more sentences left. One day they heard a wise old man who had come to town. He could solve all kinds of problems and guide people, right? So initially we have discussed as to how happy the couple were, and then we had discussed what their problem is, right? Now we have a new entry of a wise old man who has a solution for all the issues. Now, the leftover sentences are sentence D and E. The wise old man told them, he has told them something. Your option E says, so the couple decided to visit the wise old man. So there's a link. See, in the third sentence, they are introducing the wise old man to you. Am I right? The link. Again, in the fourth sentence, the couple decide to go and meet the wise old man. So automatically this will be your fourth sentence. The couple decide to visit the wise old man and tell him their worry. And what solution he gives? The wise old man told them to travel around the world and seek a man and a woman who are perfectly happy as a couple. So we have sequenced our answer. So your option order is B, F, C, E, D and A. Now read all the sentences in the same order along with me to get an idea whether we had set the sentences in the proper chronological order, right? Let's begin. There was a young couple who led a very happy life together. The only thing that they were worried about was whether their happiness would last forever. One day, they heard that a wise old man had come to town. He could solve all kinds of problems and guide people. So, the couple decided to visit the wise old man and tell him their worry. The wise old man told them, travel around the world and seek a man and a woman who are perfectly happy as a couple. On touring the whole world and finding no couple who was perfectly happy, the young couple understood that it is hard to find perfect happiness. So yes, after reading all the 6 sentences, we are able to understand that yes, we have placed all the sentences in the correct order, and B, F, C, E, D, A is the sequence that has been expected from you. You might be asked questions like this: which sentence can be the third sentence of the passage? You should be able to write C. Or they might ask you, which is the topic sentence? What's the topic sentence? Yes, the first sentence is a topic sentence. Which is the wrapping up sentence, or which is the last sentence? You should be able to write sentence A. Alright, one more last example for sentence sequencing. These are small sentences and I want you to try the answers on your own. He borrowed some money from his neighbor for me. Second sentence. However, he promised to get the money I needed. Sentence C. Since I had no money with me, I decided to borrow from my friend. Sentence D. The electricity bill had to be paid immediately. My fifth sentence. But he had no money with him to lend me. So these are my 5 sentences. I would like you to go through the 5 sentences and arrange them in the proper sequence. Let's begin with the first sentence. The first sentence has to be the theme or the topic sentence. Now, after reading all the 5 sentences, you would have come to a conclusion that this passage is about how a person has to pay his electricity bills and is in need of money, and how his friend helps him get the money, right? So the main idea is about the person paying the electricity bill. So which sentence refers to the main idea of the passage? Check with option D. The electricity bill had to be paid immediately. So that is my topic sentence. So sentence number 1. Next, the bill had to be paid immediately. What's the next thing? What do you need to pay your bills? Money. But what happens? The person doesn't have money. Since I had no money with me, I decided to borrow from my friend. So this would be my second sentence. What's going to be a third sentence? Read the remaining 3 sentences. He borrowed some money from his neighbor for me. However, he promised to get the money I needed, but he had no money with him to lend me. Chronologically, sentence E has to follow sentence C. So this is your third sentence. But he had no money with him to lend me. However, still, he promised to get the money I needed. And what did he do finally? He borrowed some money from his neighbor for his friend. Now read all the 5 sentences in the proper sequence along with me to check if they are chronologically arranged and if they give you the proper meaning. Beginning with D. The electricity bill had to be paid immediately. Since I had no money with me, I decided to borrow from my friend. But he had no money with him to lend me. However, he promised to get the money I needed. So he borrowed some money from his neighbor for me. So let's put down the proper sequence. What's 1? D. 2 is C. 3 is E. 4 is B. And 5 is A. You might be asked to choose the correct sequence, or you might be asked to write the correct sequence, or you might be questioned which sentence among these 5 can be the third sentence. So you need to know the exact order to know that sentence E can be the third sentence. They can ask you which can be the last sentence. Which one? Option, the sentence A can be your last or your fifth sentence. So you need to find the correct chronological order in order to answer these questions.